She walked into the wrong room, and she should never have seen what was inside. The ninth-floor hallway was so silent that Laura could hear her own breathing echo against the dark wooden walls. It was one of those nights when the entire hotel felt suspended in time. Like every guest had silently agreed to fall asleep at once, leaving behind nothing but the distant hum of the air conditioning and the warm, static glow of the hallway sconces. Laura walked slowly, balancing the dinner tray meant for room 908. The clock on her wrist read 11:17 p.m. She was covering an extra shift for a co-worker who hadn't shown up, and the quiet, though comforting, had an edge to it tonight. There was something about that stillness that made her feel watched, even if she knew rationally that she was completely alone. She stopped in front of 908, straightened her uniform, and took a steady breath before knocking. One knock. No answer. Another. Nothing but the thickening silence pushing back at her. She tried again, firmer this time. Still nothing. Laura set the tray on a small console table and checked the order slip again. The guest had definitely requested food. Maybe he'd fallen asleep. Maybe he was in the shower. Maybe he'd stepped out. She turned to grab her phone and call reception when something caught her attention. The door to 906, just a few steps away, was slightly ajar. Not wide enough to suggest a break-in, just open. Carelessly, a thin line of light spilled into the hallway, and a faint breeze slipped through that gap, lifting a loose strand of hair across Laura's cheek. For a moment, she simply stared. Room 906 rarely hosted regular guests. It was one of the executive suites reserved for the corporate partners of the hotel, people with money, influence, entourages, and schedules that made everyone else rush around them. Laura took a hesitant step. The silence behind that door was just as deep as the silence in the hallway, and yet something was wrong, very wrong. She cleared her throat softly and called, keeping her voice low so as not to disturb the other rooms. "Room service?" No response. She nudged the door open a little more carefully, just enough to peek inside. The suite was mostly dark, lit only by a dim lamp somewhere in the small entryway that led to the main room. "Hello?" she tried again, keeping her tone polite, professional. "Did anyone order dinner?" It was almost impossible that the order had been placed to the wrong room, but that open door, that silence, that tight, twisting feeling low in her stomach, something wasn't right. And even knowing that, she stepped one foot inside. That's when she heard it, a muffled sound, not exactly a breath, not exactly a groan, something faintly human, but so weak she couldn't place it. It came from deeper inside the suite, near the living room. Laura swallowed hard. Her first instinct was to back away. Her second, stronger, was to make sure no one inside needed help. She pushed the door open slowly, letting the soft hallway light spill into the dark room. A woody cologne hung in the air, mixed with something else, something metallic that took her a few seconds to recognize. Blood. Laura's heart lurched in her chest. She stepped farther inside, moving lightly, barely touching the floor. Her eyes adjusted to the dim light, and the stillness of the suite felt wrong, like the air itself was holding something heavy and unseen. Then she saw him. Marcelo, collapsed on the floor near the pale rug in the living area. His body lay on its side, his dress shirt torn, dark stains spreading across the fabric and skin. His face was turned partly toward the floor, but she knew immediately who he was. Everyone knew. He was one of the corporate presidents at the company where her brother worked, a name with weight, a man she never imagined seeing like this. Laura froze at the threshold between the entryway and the room. One hand gripped the wall behind her, the other shook uncontrollably at her side. Her first impulse was to run, her second, to get closer. And somehow, against all logic, she took 2 slow steps toward him. "Marcelo?" she whispered, her voice cracking. "Can you hear me?" Nothing. She moved closer, kneeling beside him carefully. She touched his shoulder with shaking fingertips. His body was still warm. He was alive. Barely. His breathing was unsteady, each inhale a struggle. Then she saw it. A phone on the floor beside him, tipped on its side, screen still lit. A video recording paused mid-frame, just a few seconds frozen, but enough to see Marcello looking directly into the camera before collapsing. Laura reached toward it, hesitant, like touching the device would cross a line she couldn't uncross. Before her fingers reached it, Marcello made a sound, a raw, scraped throat groan. "No," he whispered, voice splintered. "Don't tell." Laura froze. His body trembled as if fighting something inside. She held him gently, unsure whether she was helping or making things worse. "It's okay," she murmured, though she had no idea if anything was okay. "I'm calling someone." "I'm calling She didn't finish. A sharp noise echoed from the hall. A footstep, a shift. Something too quick to identify. Laura whipped around, heart pounding. The door she'd left cracked open was swaying, just slightly, as if someone had moved away from it too fast to be seen. Someone was out there watching her. Someone who knew she had found Marcello. Her stomach twisted violently. The phone still glowed beside him. Marcello's breathing rattled. The hallway was silent again, not a peaceful silence, but a silence filled with threat. Laura stayed still for several long seconds, then rose on unsteady legs, rushed to the door, and shut it fully, locking it. Her hand shook so badly she nearly missed the latch. When she turned back, Marcello's half-opened eyes were fixed on her, strained, as if even looking at her cost him energy he didn't have. "You shouldn't have been here," he whispered, the words fragile, breaking apart. Laura felt the floor tilt beneath her. "I don't understand," she said, kneeling again. "What happened? Who did this to you? Marcello, I need to call for help." He lifted a hand, but it dropped before it rose even an inch. "They'll come back," he breathed. "Don't open the door. Don't trust anyone." Laura tried to steady her thoughts, her pulse, her breath. But then, more footsteps outside. Not one person. Several. The sound was slow, measured, deliberate. That's when Laura understood something with chilling clarity. She was trapped in that room, with a man she barely knew, with blood on the floor, with a phone holding something she was not meant to see. And outside the door, people were waiting. Not for him, for her. She didn't know it yet, but by stepping into that room, by slipping through a door that should have remained closed, she'd crossed an invisible line, one she could never come back from. The brightness of the lobby felt harsher than usual that morning. The cold lights bounced off the polished glass, making everything look too clean, too organized, too controlled, like the hotel had been prepared for an inspection rather than for regular guests. Laura stepped out of the service hallway with quick, tense strides, gripping the strap of her bag as if it were the last solid thing she could hold on to. The night before kept replaying in her mind in broken flashes. The smell of blood, the muffled sound in the corridor, Marcello's fading voice telling her not to trust anyone, the half-open door, the glowing phone recording. Everything felt like a nightmare her brain couldn't line up in the right order. Her entire body still carried the afterglow of adrenaline, the kind that made her feel ready to run even while standing in a crowded lobby. "You're late," the manager said the moment he spotted her. Laura stopped, drew in a slow breath, and tried to collect herself before answering. He was the kind of man who noticed every wrinkle in a uniform before he even bothered to look at someone's face. "I know. I had a few issues this morning." He narrowed his eyes slightly, as if dissecting each word she said to extract whatever she wasn't saying. "Issues?" he echoed, tone flat. "I didn't sleep well," she replied, keeping her voice steady. He didn't believe her. She could see it in the flick of his gaze. He was the type who sensed when something slipped out of line, and reacted with a quiet, simmering impatience. "We'll talk later," he said, removing his glasses and holding them by the frame. "But for now, go to the security room. Someone wants to speak with you." Laura's stomach dropped. "With me?" she asked, trying to sound surprised, though her voice betrayed the fact that she had been expecting something like this. "Yes." He slid his glasses back on and straightened his suit. "Something happened on the 9th floor last night. You were up there, weren't you?" She hesitated. and to him hesitation was as good as confession. "Then go," he said, pointing toward the hall to the right. "They're waiting." Laura swallowed and started walking. Each step tightened the feeling that she was heading somewhere dangerous, the kind of place where every word she said could be twisted against her, even though she hadn't done anything wrong. The security room was narrow, lined with monitors and smelling strongly of coffee. 2 men were inside, Reynaldo, a guard she knew, and another man she had never seen before. The second man stood straighter, older, with the posture of someone who had spent years in law enforcement. His dark suit was crisp, and he wore no badge or name tag. He turned as she entered. "Laura, right?" he asked. "Yes," she answered, keeping her hands clasped in front of her. He motioned for her to step closer. "My name is Mr. Alves. I oversee executive security for our corporate guests." Laura froze. Her throat tightened. Alves continued. "You were on the 9th floor last night. We need you to tell us exactly what happened." The sentence was simple, but the way he said exactly felt like a blade wrapped in velvet. Reynaldo watched her with an uneasy expression, like he was waiting for her to say something incriminating, something he already believed had been said. Laura pressed her fingers together to stop them from trembling. "I went to deliver a meal to 908, she began, forcing her voice into a steady rhythm. "I knocked, but no one answered. Then I saw the door to 906 slightly open and thought maybe the room numbers had been mixed up, so—" She took a breath. "So I heard a sound from inside and found the guest unconscious." Alves tilted his head a fraction. "The guest," he repeated. "Marcelo Duarte." Laura nodded. "Yes, he was hurt. It looked like he'd been attacked. I tried to call for help, but you didn't call," Alves finished for her. The words hit like a stone. "I tried," Laura insisted. "But someone was in the hallway. I heard footsteps. The door moved. I got scared." Alves watched her closely, studying every tiny shift in her face like a human lie detector. "What else did you see?" he asked. "Nothing," she said, her chest tightening. "I swear, just Marcelo and the phone." Alves's eyes narrowed for the first time. "Ah, the phone," he said, as if he had been waiting for her to mention it. "Interesting that you bring that up." A chill crawled up the back of Laura's neck. "Why?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he offered a small smile, the kind that held no warmth, only calculation. "Because there was no phone in the room," he finally said. "And no video. Nothing." Laura blinked, confused. "But it was right next to him. I saw it. It was recording. He looked into the camera before he passed out." Reynaldo looked away, uncomfortable. Alves, however, stepped a little closer. "Are you sure about that?" Laura instinctively stepped back. "Absolutely." The silence that followed was thick enough to feel heavy. Alves studied her as though she were a dangerous witness, someone who knew too much, or someone who was lying. Then he said something that made her stomach flip. "Funny," he murmured, opening a folder on the desk, "because the only person seen entering and leaving that room was you." Laura froze. "That's not true. I heard footsteps. Someone was there." "There is no footage showing that," Alves replied. "The cameras recorded you entering at 11:21 p.m. and leaving at 11:29 p.m. Nothing else. No shadows, no one passing by, no sound, nothing." Her palms began to sweat. "That's impossible. The cameras don't cover the whole hallway. There are blind spots." Alves tapped the desk with one finger. "Exactly." His voice dropped slightly. "Blind spots where anything could happen, or where someone could slip in and out without being seen. But unfortunately for you, those same blind spots mean nothing can be proven." Laura couldn't speak. He continued. "Before losing consciousness completely, Mr. Marcelo said one word. Repeatedly." Laura didn't want to hear it. "What word?" she whispered. Alves answered without hesitation. "Yours." The floor seemed to tilt beneath her. That makes no sense," she said. "He doesn't know me. I've never spoken to him in my life." Strange, Alves said, closing the folder. Because he seemed to recognize you. He seemed to want to speak to you, almost as if he knew exactly who you were. Laura tried to inhale, but her lungs wouldn't cooperate. I didn't do anything, she murmured. I was only trying to help. Alves stared at her for a long moment before adjusting his tie. We'll call you again when we need to, he said, dismissing her with a flick of his hand. In the meantime, stay available, and don't discuss this with anyone. Laura left the room feeling like the walls of the hotel had moved closer. In the locker room, she shut the door behind her and leaned against it. Only then did she notice her legs trembling. Her head throbbed with the weight of what she'd just heard. There was no phone, no video. Marcelo had said her name and the cameras showed only her. A cold shiver ran down her spine. That room, that door left ajar. Those footsteps. None of it had been an accident. The hallway leading to the locker rooms felt longer that afternoon. Laura walked slowly, sensing the world had tilted a few degrees off-center, just enough to make everything slightly crooked, slightly wrong. She couldn't tell if it was the lack of sleep, Alves's interrogation, or the sinking realization that she was alone in something she didn't even understand. When she stepped into the employee parking lot, she took a deep breath. The cold air hit her skin like a warning, or maybe a reminder that she was awake, alive, and not imagining any of this. Her mind kept whispering that all of it could be some kind of misunderstanding, but deep down, she knew better. Proof didn't just vanish. Marcelo didn't say her name by mistake. Footsteps didn't echo in an empty hallway. Doors didn't stay open by accident, and traps didn't look like traps until you were already inside them. Laura boarded the bus home and took the last seat by the window. The vehicle was nearly empty. 2 men whispered up front, and an older woman slept with her cheek pressed against her purse. The hiss of the doors closing echoed inside Laura's chest like a crack. She tried to line everything up in her head, but the harder she tried, the more everything slipped apart. The food order in 908, the open door in 906, Marcelo bleeding on the floor, the recording, the footsteps, the missing phone. Her name, Alves's cold questions. It was all pieces of a puzzle someone had rearranged to make her look like the only one standing in the middle of it. When the bus turned onto her neighborhood street, Laura pressed her forehead against the chilled window and closed her eyes. It was the first genuine moment of silence she'd had since everything began, and for a brief second she wished life was still simple, before the mistakes that nearly destroyed her relationship with her family. Before her brother became her last anchor, before she took the hotel job trying to rebuild everything from scratch. The bus stopped in front of her old apartment building. She stepped off slowly, trying to ignore the crawling sensation that something had been following her since the moment she left the hotel. She climbed the narrow stairs. The hallway was empty. She unlocked her door, pushed it open, and froze. Someone had been there. The apartment looked unchanged, but the signs were subtle. Tiny things no one else would notice, but she did. The desk drawer was open by exactly 1 inch. The curtain hung slightly twisted. A kitchen chair was angled wrong, not where she always left it. Laura's throat tightened. Someone had entered without forcing anything. Someone who knew what they were doing. Someone who was looking for something. But what? She checked her belongings. Drawers, under the mattress, inside books. Nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. Nothing looked stolen. So why had someone been there? Her phone buzzed. She looked down. Lucas, her brother. Her stomach twisted. She answered, voice fragile. Hi. The silence on his end was heavier than words. Do you have any idea what you've done? He finally asked, his voice cold. Not angry. Worse, disappointed. Laura closed her eyes, leaning her back against the door. Lucas, I didn't do anything. Don't lie to me, he snapped. They already called me. They said you were seen in Marcelo's room. They said you were involved. That's absurd, Laura said, heat rising in her chest. I walked in by mistake. I was working. The door was open. He was hurt. I tried. They said you argued with him, Lucas cut in. They said you knew something. They said you... His voice tightened. Laura, do you have any idea what this could do to my career? She swallowed hard. I would never argue with him. I didn't even know him, Lucas. Do you really think— I don't know what to think, he interrupted again. Every time I believe you're finally getting your life back together, something happens. Always something. I'm tired. It felt like someone had gripped her throat from the inside. Lucas, she whispered, almost pleading. I swear I didn't do anything. I wouldn't make something like this up. I'm scared. Something is happening. I heard footsteps in that hallway. Someone was there. I don't want to hear excuses, he said. If you got yourself into something, deal with it. You're not dragging me into it again. Figure it out on your own. He hung up. Laura stood in the middle of the apartment, holding the phone like it was the last thing stopping her world from collapsing. Her legs gave out, and she slid down the door, sitting on the floor. That conversation hurt more than any accusation from strangers. Lucas had been the only person she had left. The only one who believed in her when no one else did. And now even he doubted her. Laura inhaled slowly, trying to control the shaking in her hands. She needed to think, to stay calm, to understand the why behind everything. She rose unsteadily and went to the kitchen. She drank a glass of water, but the knot in her stomach didn't budge. As she set the glass down, she noticed something on the table, a white envelope, plain, unmarked, placed deliberately where she would see it. Laura walked toward it slowly, her heart quickening with each step. She picked it up. It was light. There was something inside, but not paper, something rigid. She opened it carefully. Inside was a photograph. The image was dark, but clear enough to recognize the scene. The 9th floor hallway right in front of room 906, the door half open, the same angle she had seen hours earlier. But there was something else in the picture, a shadow behind the door, the silhouette of someone standing still. Watching. Laura's breath vanished. The photo had been taken seconds before she entered the room. The envelope slipped from her hand. The photograph slid across the floor, and the image looked back at her like a silent verdict. Someone was there. Someone knew she would walk by. Someone took that photo and held onto it until now. Her phone vibrated again. Unknown number. Laura answered with trembling hands. No one spoke at first, just breathing. Slow. Measured. As if the person was close to the receiver, as if they were listening to her reaction. Who is this? Laura asked, her voice smaller than she intended. The breathing continued, steady, deliberate. I know what you saw, the voice finally said. Male, low, almost a whisper. And I know you weren't supposed to see it. The call ended. Laura stood frozen in place, gripping the phone so tightly she feared it might break. And she understood something with absolute clarity. She wasn't a witness. She was the weak point in a story that had begun long before she arrived, and had only become dangerous because she stepped through a door she should have never opened. Or maybe a door someone wanted her to open. The photograph lay on the floor, half lit by the soft daylight slipping through the small apartment window. Laura stared at it for several long seconds without really seeing it, her mind holding her in a suspended state, as if trying to shield her for a moment before reality snapped back into place. When she finally crouched to pick it up, the paper felt rough between her fingers. High-quality printing paper, not something rushed or improvised. Whoever took that picture hadn't just been there at the exact moment. They'd had time and intention to print it and leave it inside her home. Someone had entered. Someone who wasn't afraid of being noticed. Someone who wanted her to know she was being watched. Laura inhaled deeply, trying to steady the trembling in her hands. One thought pulsed relentlessly at the back of her mind. Why her? Why drag a completely ordinary woman, a hotel maid with no connection to Marcelo, no ties to whatever he'd been running from, into something this dangerous? The doorbell rang. The sound sliced through the silence so sharply that Laura jolted, almost dropping the photograph. Her pulse hammered in her ears. She wasn't expecting anyone. Lucas certainly wouldn't come after their conversation, and no one else would show up unannounced. The bell rang again, longer. Laura moved toward the door slowly, each step quiet, almost cautious. She peered through the peephole. The hallway was empty, but the bell had rung. She hadn't imagined it. She stayed motionless, watching through the lens, waiting for a shadow, a movement, anything. Nothing. Just the narrow, aging corridor with its flickering lights and peeling paint. A cold tremor rippled across her shoulders. She did not open the door. Still gripping the photo, she walked back inside. She tucked it deep into one of the dresser drawers, sliding it beneath layers of clothes. Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe whoever left it already knew every corner of her home. But the act gave her a small, desperately needed sense of control. Her phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number. She hesitated before reading it. Don't run from what you saw. No name. No context. Just another reminder. Someone was watching her and wanted her aware of it. Laura's throat tightened. She didn't reply. She tried blocking the number, but the call earlier had come from a different phone. If they wanted to reach her, they would. Her apartment wasn't safe anymore. She needed answers. She needed to understand why someone erased Marcelo's phone and where it was now. She needed to face this head-on. Laura grabbed her bag and rushed out. The walk to the hotel, normally dull and routine, felt shorter, narrower, more oppressive. Every person on the sidewalk seemed to stare at her a fraction too long. Every parked car felt like it hid eyes behind tinted windows. She tried to ignore the growing paranoia, but it clung to her body like weight on her spine. When she stepped into the hotel lobby, she forced herself to breathe. The reception buzzed with noise, guests checking in, rolling suitcases, conversations blending into white noise. But as soon as Laura crossed the lobby floor, she saw two faces she didn't want to see, Reynaldo and the manager. They were speaking with other employees, but the conversation halted the moment they noticed her. It lasted only a second, too quick for the unobservant, too telling for her. They'd been talking about her. The manager headed toward her. "Laura," he said, voice coated in fake politeness but cracking under the tension. "We need to speak again." She nodded and followed him down the hallway toward a small back office, a cramped room used for staff meetings, still smelling of disinfectant and old paper. The white walls felt colder than usual. "Rodriguez, you too," the manager called. Reynaldo entered behind her. The door closed. "We received new information about last night," the manager began, crossing his arms. "It isn't good." Laura held her posture, though her stomach sank. "What did they say?" The manager glanced at Reynaldo before answering. "Several employees claim they saw you arguing with Mr. Marcelo on more than one occasion." The shock punched the air out of her. "That's a lie," she said, firm but shaken. "I never spoke to him. Never. I didn't even know him." Reynaldo exhaled heavily as if bracing himself. "I thought you should hear it," he said quietly. "They're saying you had some kind of personal involvement with him, that there was tension." "Tension," Laura repeated, disbelief twisting her voice. "That's insane. Based on what? Who said that?" The manager continued. "One employee says they heard you telling him he shouldn't have done that. Another claims they saw you two arguing in the lobby 2 weeks ago. Someone else says—" "That never happened," Laura cut in, hands trembling. "I would never raise my voice at a guest. I didn't know this man. This is completely made up." But the looks in the room told her something worse. No one was sure she was telling the truth. The manager sighed. "Laura, when it comes to a corporate guest, especially someone as important as Mr. Marcelo, any suspicion becomes serious." "I'm the suspect," she whispered. He didn't deny it. Reynaldo looked away. A slow, burning anger began rising in Laura's chest. "Do you really think I would hurt someone?" she asked, voice cracking with hurt. "Do you think I'd have the strength, the motive, or—" "That's not what we're saying," Reynaldo interrupted gently. "It's just everything is strange. And when everything is strange, people look for explanations. And sometimes they choose the closest person." It was the first honest thing anyone had said. The manager straightened his tie. "Mr. Alves wants to speak to you again. He asked to be informed when you arrived. A chill crawled down her spine. She didn't want to face Alves again, not after the way he studied her like an equation only he understood. But running wasn't an option. "Where is he?" she asked. "9B, the manager said. "The isolated meeting room." Laura nodded, though dread was tightening her lungs. She took the service elevator up. When the doors opened onto the 9th floor, a wave of cold washed over her. This was where everything started. The same fake calm, the same immaculate corridor, the same suffocating stillness. She walked down the hallway until she reached room 9B. The door was slightly ajar. Again. Swallowing hard, she knocked. Alves sat facing away from her, studying something on a tablet. When he turned, he looked at her with an expression that revealed nothing. "Come in," he said, without raising his voice. Laura stepped inside. He locked the tablet screen quickly, too quickly to be an accident. "We searched for Mr. Marcello's phone again," he said flatly. "We found nothing. No device, no trace, nothing." Laura steadied her breath. "I told you it was there last night, right beside him. The screen was on. The recording—" "There was no recording," Alves snapped, calm but sharp. "And even if there had been, you can't prove it." Laura's knees wavered. Alves reached into a drawer, grabbed a brown envelope and tossed it on the table. "Recognize this?" She glanced at it. It was a uniform, her uniform from last night, and now she saw it clearly. A stain, dark, small, but unmistakable. Blood. Her stomach flipped. What is this?" she whispered. "Found in your locker," he said. "And it wasn't there yesterday. We have records." Laura took a step back. "This is a setup," she said, the certainty hitting her like a spark. "Someone planted it." Alves watched her closely. "Of course someone planted it," he said calmly. "The question is who and why." Laura blinked, stunned. "So, you believe me?" Alves tilted his head, examining her face like he was reading each micro-expression. "Not yet," he replied. "But I don't believe in coincidences either. And you were at the wrong place, at the wrong time, with people who don't forgive mistakes." A cold shiver crawled over her skin. "People? Who?" He didn't answer. Instead, he stood and walked toward her slowly. "Someone is building a narrative," he said, stopping close enough for her to smell his deep, woody cologne. "And you're the perfect piece. Harmless, invisible, simple, easy to discard." The floor felt unsteady beneath her. "But they haven't decided yet," he went on, "whether you'll be the scapegoat or the message." Laura's pulse spiked. Message? To who? Alves looked directly into her eyes, and for the first time she saw honesty behind his. "To someone far more powerful than you realize." The door behind them slammed shut. Neither had touched it. Laura and Alves spun around. The corridor outside was empty, or at least, it looked empty. The empty hallway seemed to swallow every trace of movement. The metal door still vibrated faintly from the impact, the low tremor echoing unevenly across the cold floor. Laura's body reacted before her mind caught up. Instinct screamed for her to run. Something deeper, maybe more human, maybe more doomed, told her to stay. Running would make her look guilty. Staying meant she was still fighting for her story to exist. Alves approached the door slowly and pushed it open with a firm, deliberate shove. The hallway was silent again. No footsteps, no breeze, no figure retreating around a corner. Just the immaculate, emotionless walls of the hotel, watching like they knew more than either of them. Without turning back, Alves said quietly, "That door doesn't slam on its own." Laura stood still for several seconds before finding her voice. "I know." He closed the door gently and returned to the center of the room, his posture shifting subtly, as if reorganizing invisible pieces of a puzzle he'd been assembling since the night before. "Laura," he said, resting both hands on the back of a chair. "Whatever is happening is bigger than anything you can imagine. Bigger than anything I'd like to acknowledge. And you're at the center of it. That wasn't accidental." A chill crawled up her spine. "Why me?" she asked, her voice rasped thin. "What was I supposed to see? Why would someone put me there?" Alves looked away, weighing something heavy and dangerous inside his mind. When he met her eyes again, there was a truth there, one he didn't want to say, but couldn't avoid. "You walked into that room at the exact minute someone needed you to." Laura blinked, stunned. "That makes no sense. The door was open by accident. Anyone could have walked in." "Not anyone," Alves corrected. "Only someone who wouldn't immediately question it. Someone who wouldn't recognize the shape of a trap. Someone easy to erase afterward." Her stomach dropped. "A decoy," she whispered. "Exactly." The air felt charged, thick with static. Every new revelation deepened her vulnerability, expanding it like a bruise. "You said there was a recording," Alves continued. "You're absolutely sure?" "Positive," Laura answered instantly. "The screen was on. He was recording. The camera was facing him. He looked right at it like he was trying to say something." "And what did he say?" Alves asked. Laura hesitated. The memory came in jagged flashes. He said, "Don't tell," but I don't know if he was speaking to me. He was barely conscious. Alves opened the folder again and pulled out a rigid file. Marcelo Duarte was investigating something too big to keep inside the corporation. He knew he was at risk. He'd been pressured, followed, and we believe he was recording meetings, conversations, evidence. We just don't know why yet. "Is this about corruption?" Laura asked carefully. Alves didn't confirm, but his silence said enough. Instead, he asked, "When you walked into the room, did you see anything else? A briefcase, a folder, a box? Anything out of place?" Laura searched her memory. The dim light, the blood-stained rug, the phone, Marcelo's broken breathing. "No," she said finally. "Nothing that looked important. Nothing someone would be searching for." Alves's expression tightened. "Then whatever they were looking for was already gone before you walked in." Laura felt her heartbeat spike. "So he was attacked to take something from him, or to stop him from giving it to the wrong person," Alves said cryptically. Before she could process that, he pulled out a small plastic evidence sleeve. "We found something," he said, holding it up. Inside was a thin, dark fragment of fabric, like a scrap from a glove or uniform, but the material wasn't ordinary. Thick, rigid, purposeful. "It was caught in the doorframe of 906, Alves explained. "It doesn't belong to any hotel employee." Laura's breath hitched. "So someone was there before me." "Someone was there," Alves repeated, letting the ambiguity sit heavily. "Someone who knew exactly what they were doing." Laura steadied herself against the table. "You still haven't told me why they erased the recording," she said. Alves studied her expression carefully before answering. "Because the recording showed someone," he said, "and it wasn't you." The silence that followed squeezed the air from the room. Laura swallowed hard. "So I'm innocent," she whispered, like she half feared saying it aloud. "In the attack, yes," Alves replied. "But there's something more dangerous at play, something I don't think you've realized yet." Laura looked up, pulse racing. "What?" He approached the door, checked the hallway again, then turned to her. "You know something," he said bluntly. "And to the people who did this, that's as dangerous as being guilty." A cold wave rolled down Laura's back. "I didn't ask for any of this," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want—" "That doesn't matter," Alves cut in. "Now you're part of the story, and they know that." Laura forced a breath into her lungs. "Who are they? Who's doing this? Who was in the room?" Alves stared at her long enough to make her skin prickle. Then, "There's someone Marcelo suspected for a long time. Someone inside the corporation. Someone high enough to stay protected, with resources. Influence, and no hesitation about eliminating obstacles." Laura's throat dried. "Who?" Alves didn't answer directly. His expression hardened. He looked conflicted, afraid to say more. "Let's just say," he said slowly, "they're not working alone, and they're not someone you could face without help." Then, A soft knock at the door. Not a hit. Not someone trying to enter. A polite knock, controlled, almost courteous. The kind of knock that precedes a threat. Both of them froze. The air thickened. Alves stepped toward the door, each stride measured. Laura held her breath. He opened it just a sliver, just enough to look. Something flickered across his face. A shift, quick, contained, unreadable. He closed the door softly and turned back to her. "We have company," he said quietly. "We can't stay here." Laura's pulse roared. "Who is it?" "It doesn't matter," he said. "We need to leave through another exit. Now." "Another exit?" she whispered. He moved quickly, grabbing the folder and pressing it into her hands. "If something happens, do not open this," he instructed. "Give it only to the person Marcelo named." "Who is that?" "You're not ready to know." Before she could respond, Alves was already pulling open a narrow side door she didn't even know existed. Beyond it was a dimly lit maintenance passage, yellow light pooling in shallow circles on the floor. "Laura," he said, pausing before she stepped through, "you saw more than you realize." She frowned, confused. "What did I see?" Alves looked her dead in the eyes. "The second person in the room," he said. "They weren't outside. They were inside. Hidden behind the door, in the reflection, in the shadow, in the corner. You saw them. You just didn't register it." A shock coursed through her body. He added, voice low, "And that person saw you, too." The side door slammed shut behind them, leaving the room silent, exposed, and no longer safe. The maintenance corridor was narrow and suffocating, its grey walls lined with exposed pipes that ran along the ceiling like metallic veins. The dim lights flickered in places, stretching shadows across the floor that lengthened and shrank as Laura and Alves walked deeper into the passage. The hum of distant ventilation made the whole place feel alive, claustrophobic, humming with urgency. Laura followed close behind Alves, struggling to steady her breathing. The air tasted like old dust and abandonment, like a place people passed through quickly and never lingered. "Where are we going?" she whispered, afraid her voice might echo. Alves didn't turn. "To an exit almost no one knows exists," he said. "We can't walk through the main hotel right now. They're watching everything you do." The words landed like a weight across her chest. "Who's watching me?" she pressed. This time he stopped. He turned to her with an expression sharper than anything he had shown before. "Laura, you need to understand. This is no longer about the hotel, or your job, or a misunderstanding." He paused, letting the truth settle. "This was planned, anticipated, rehearsed, and you're in the middle because someone decided you should be." A cold shiver carved its way down her spine. "But I'm not anyone," she whispered. "I'm not important." "And that's exactly why they chose you," he replied calmly. "No one would ever imagine you'd be connected to this. You're easy to paint however they want. Guilty, innocent, witness, distraction. You fit every mold." Her eyes dropped to the floor. "So which one am I supposed to be right now?" he answered without cruelty, but with a truth that burned. "The scapegoat." Her stomach plummeted. "But why?" she demanded, voice cracking. "Why me? Because if you were too innocent, no one would believe it," he said. "And if you were too troubled, you'd draw attention. You're exactly where they need you, right in the middle. Invisible, but vulnerable. Perfect." The words struck her harder than anything he'd said before. It was the first time she'd seen herself through the eyes of someone who didn't need to lie. They kept walking until they reached a peeling metal door. Alves unlocked a small manual latch and pushed it open, revealing a cramped staircase descending into the hotel's sublevel. "Down there is a delivery exit," he said. "You'll leave through that. No one will see you in the main halls." "And you?" she asked. "I have things to handle, including finding out what was taken from Marcelo's room before you arrived." Laura tightened her grip on the folder he'd given her. It was light, but it felt heavier than anything she'd ever held. Alves noticed the tension in her hands. "Don't open it," he repeated. "It's not meant for you, not yet." She nodded slowly. "And how will I know when or who to give it to?" "You'll know," he said. Not because they'll introduce themselves, but because the danger around you will change shape, and you'll recognize it. The answer only deepened the unease twisting inside her. "This is big, isn't it?" she whispered. His gaze locked on hers. "Big enough to take down powerful people. Big enough to end careers, big enough to erase anyone who sees too much," she swallowed. "Including me? Especially you." The blunt honesty made everything inside her clench. This wasn't about being in the wrong place anymore. This was about survival. Alves opened the door, gesturing for her to go. "Go and make sure you're not followed. They're closer than you think." Laura descended the staircase, hearing the heavy metal door shut behind her, its echo bouncing through the tight concrete space like a warning. The sublevel was even colder than the corridor. Stacks of boxes, carts, and maintenance equipment cast jagged shadows across the cement floor. The scent of dampness mixed with harsh industrial cleaners. At the far end, she saw the side door leading outside. She walked toward it, hyper-alert. Every sound, every shift of light, every object out of place tightened something inside her. When she pushed the door open, daylight hit her face like a slap. She stepped out into a service area near the hotel's exterior lot. Delivery trucks sat parked, some empty, some with their doors wide open. The area was spacious but riddled with blind spots. She clutched her bag tighter and walked toward the main street. She didn't make it far. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She lifted it with dread. This time the message wasn't vague. "Stop running, your brother is being watched." Laura froze in the middle of the service lot, her heartbeat thunderous. The threat wasn't subtle. It wasn't implied. It was direct. Her phone buzzed again before she could even breathe. "Go back to the hotel, now." Laura scanned the area, every truck, every corner, every shadow. No one. Yet she felt eyes everywhere. The phone buzzed a third time. "Or he pays for what you saw." The world tightened around her, her chest constricted, sweat gathered in her palms. Lucas. It always came back to him. Whoever was behind this knew her pressure points, and they were pressing them with surgical precision. She took a shaky breath. Going back to the hotel was the worst option, but ignoring the threat felt suicidal. She turned around. Every step back toward the side door felt heavier. When she stepped inside, someone was waiting. Helena. She leaned casually against the wall near the service area, arms crossed, her expression neutral, but her eyes held something sharp, cold calculation beneath a polished exterior. "Finally," Helena said, lifting her chin with a grace that felt rehearsed. "I thought you'd take longer." Laura stopped several feet away. "What are you doing here?" Helena offered a small smile, elegant but empty. "I'm here to talk," she said. "And before you ask, no, you don't have a choice." Laura narrowed her eyes. "You've been following me?" "No," Helena replied with a light shrug. "I've simply been observing how you handle the truth that fell into your lap." Laura gripped the folder tighter. "You broke into my apartment." Helena didn't answer right away. She savored the silence like a glass of wine. "If I had broken in," she said softly, "you would never have known." A pause. "But the person who did wasn't careful, and that says more about him and about you." Bile rose in Laura's throat. "What do you want?" "I want to know what you saw," Helena said, stepping closer, her movements fluid, predatory. "I want to know what Marcelo told you before he lost consciousness. I want to know if you understood anything you shouldn't have." Laura swallowed hard. "I only saw him hurt, that's all." "Lie," Helena said smoothly. "You saw more. Maybe not clearly, maybe not consciously, but you saw something. You walked into the room at the exact second it mattered. You saw the shadow. You felt the presence, and someone saw you too." Laura's throat tightened. "And if I tell you I don't know anything?" Helena smiled, slow, empty, merciless. "It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what they think you might discover." In that moment, Laura saw something in Helena's posture. She wasn't just a bystander. She was part of the machinery, a cog that moved independently, but always served something larger. "Who are they?" Laura whispered. Helena tilted her head, evaluating how much she could reveal without risking her own safety. People who don't forgive mistakes, she said, and even less witnesses. A cold rush shot through Laura's chest. And you work for them? She asked. Helena's controlled smile returned. I work for whoever pays more, and right now that's not you. The floor inside Laura seemed to tilt, shrinking her options to nothing. Helena stepped closer, close enough for Laura to see the precision of her makeup, the flawless posture, the calculated stillness. Listen carefully, Helena said. What you do next decides not only your fate, but the fate of the people you love. Make the wrong move and there will be consequences. Make the right one and you might survive. The word survive wasn't spoken as a threat, but as a statement of probability. Laura forced air into her lungs. And what's the right move? Simple, Helena said. Stop chasing the truth, stop digging, and hand over what you're holding. Laura's grip tightened around the folder, its weight suddenly immense. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, Helena murmured. You're carrying it like you could protect someone with it. But let me tell you a truth no one else will say. Marcelo wasn't trying to save you last night. He was using you. And he will use you again. The floor beneath Laura felt unsteady. You don't know anything about him, she replied, more defensive than she intended, even though she hardly knew the man she was defending. I know enough to tell you he didn't choose you, Helena said. You were convenient, nothing more. A tight knot twisted inside Laura's stomach. Helena stepped in even closer, voice dropping to a whisper that felt like a blade. You've been pulled into a game you don't understand. And no one will show mercy if you make the wrong move. Before Laura could respond, Helena stepped back, smoothing her blazer with elegant finality. We'll see each other again, Helena said, whether you want it or not. And she slipped into the narrow side corridor, disappearing with the silence of someone who had done this many times before. Laura remained frozen where she stood, the folder weighed heavily in her hands. Helena's words echoed relentlessly in her mind. And a truth settled in her chest with brutal clarity. She wasn't on the edge of something dangerous. She was already in the center, and there was no way out anymore. The hotel felt like an entirely different place when Laura slipped back through the side entrance, as if the entire building had shifted while she'd been outside. The air wasn't the same. The silence wasn't the same. Even the people didn't feel the same. Everything carried a quiet hum of surveillance, as if the walls themselves were listening, as if every step she took was being recorded. The front desk clock read 7:12 p.m. Typical early evening bustle filled the lobby, guests checking in, suitcases rolling across marble, staff performing their duties with mechanical precision. But underneath it all was a subtle tension, an undercurrent she could feel, but not fully name. Laura entered the service elevator, the folder still tucked tightly beneath her arm. It felt heavier now, almost alive. She thought of opening it, just to quiet the storm inside her, but Alves's voice echoed sharply in her mind. Don't open it. It didn't feel like advice. It felt like a boundary, a point of no return. The elevator climbed slowly. The cold light from the panel reflected against the stainless steel walls, stretching her shadow in distorted shapes. Her breath came unevenly, her body bracing against a danger she couldn't fully see. When the doors opened onto the 9th floor, a chill slid down her arms. Too many memories clung to that hallway. The corridor looked narrower, the lighting colder, almost bluish, as if someone had changed the bulbs. Maybe it was her imagination. Maybe it wasn't. She walked slowly, her steps soft against the carpet. Silence pressed against her ears, dense, suffocating, almost tangible. And then she reached room 906. It was closed now, no sliver of light, no half-open trap waiting to swallow her whole. Still, the air around the door felt wrong, tainted, as if something had seeped into the walls and never left. She stood motionless, trying to grasp some missing detail she could have overlooked. A soft sound behind her made her turn. Helena, standing a few steps behind her, as if she'd simply materialized out of the silence. Her movements were controlled, poised, like someone crossing a minefield she'd memorized by heart. Her blonde hair was tied into a tight knot, her dark blazer perfectly aligned. Nothing about her seemed out of place. "You came back quickly," Helena said, as if she knew exactly where Laura had been. Laura stepped back, instinctive, useless. "Why are you following me?" she asked, unable to mask the hostility. Helena offered a faint, precise smile. "Because you still don't understand the scale of this," she said. "And if you don't understand now, it'll be too late." Laura felt tension coil through her muscles. "Understand what?" Helena approached slowly, studying her like a specimen in a lab. "What's about to happen?" Laura swallowed hard. "What's going to happen?" Helena took her time before answering, glancing down the hallway as if confirming they were alone. "A decision," she said. "And you're at the center of it, whether you like it or not." Laura pressed the folder against her chest. "I have nothing to do with this." "Yes," Helena replied calmly. "You do, from the moment you opened that door." Silence stretched between them, sharp as glass. Helena stepped closer. "Return what was taken from the room," she said quietly, "and you might survive the rest of the day." Laura's stomach twisted. "I don't have anything to return." Helena lifted her chin. "There's something inside that folder, and while you don't know what it is, someone does, and they'll do anything to get it back." Laura looked down at the folder, its weight somehow heavier. "Who?" she whispered. "The person Marcello feared," Helena said. "And the person you're about to meet." The words hung in the air, cold, deliberate, unmistakably a threat. Then Helena turned and walked away, disappearing around the corner like she'd never been there at all. Laura stayed frozen, breath unsteady. Her phone buzzed. A message, another unknown number. "Room 9-2, now." Ice spread through her veins. She looked around, searching for eyes she couldn't see, but the corridor remained empty. She drew a breath. Fear pulsed through her, but something deeper pushed her forward. She walked toward room 9-2. The door was locked, but when she pressed her hand against it, a soft click. Someone inside had unlocked it. Laura entered. The suite was spacious, dimly lit. Heavy curtains darkened the room, allowing only thin shards of city light to leak through. The air smelled of expensive cologne, and then she saw him, Marcello, sitting in an armchair near the window, alive but changed, thinner, paler, more fragile, his arm and shoulder bandaged, his face marked with deep signs of the attack, but his eyes sharp, focused, waiting for her. "Laura," he said softly, his voice tired but steady. "We needed to talk." She stood frozen, unable to breathe. "You're alive?" A faint, bitter smile touched his lips. "Alive enough." Laura stepped forward, but stayed a few feet away. "What is happening?" she asked. "Why did they erase the recording? Why did they say it was me? Why did they use my name?" He exhaled heavily. "Because you're the only part of this they didn't plan for." She tightened her grip on the folder. "I don't understand." "You will," Marcello said. "But first, I need to know. Has anyone spoken to you?" Laura hesitated. "Yes. Helena." Marcello closed his eyes briefly, his jaw tightening, as if her name reopened a deeper wound. "She shouldn't have reached you first." A tremor ran through Laura's body. "Who is she?" Marcello opened his eyes slowly. "The person I trusted most," he said, "and the last person who should have entered that room that night." Laura felt her stomach drop. "She was there?" she whispered. Marcello nodded. "She was behind the door when you walked in." Laura's breath caught. "And she didn't leave because I came in too soon." Marcello nodded again. "That shadow you saw," he said quietly, "it was her. If you had registered that in the moment, you wouldn't be standing here now." A chill crawled over her skin. What really happened in that room?" she asked. Marcello leaned back, wincing with the movement. "I uncovered something," he said. "Money moving where it shouldn't. Illegal deals, manipulated reports. When I tried to confront it, they tried to silence me. And Helena? He paused. Pain flickered across his eyes. Helena chose her side. Laura fought the tightness forming in her throat. She told me you were using me, Laura said softly. Marcello met her gaze, steady, unwavering. I'm not trying to use you, Laura. I'm trying to protect you. He paused. You walked in at the wrong moment, yes, but that put you in the right position. Now you have something they need, and that's the only reason you're still alive. Laura looked down at the folder in her arms. This, she whispered. Yes, he said, though you don't know what's inside yet. She drew a shaky breath. And why should I trust you? Marcello leaned forward slightly, pain tightening his features, but determination sharpening his voice. Because right now, Laura, there's no one left here you can trust. And in that moment, the entire hotel seemed to still, as if the building itself was waiting for what she would choose next. Silence expanded inside Suite 92, stretching outward like a living thing, heavy, pressurized, alive with everything that had not yet been said. Laura stood near the door, clutching the folder so tightly her knuckles whitened. Marcello remained in the armchair, breathing with effort but watching her with a focus that bordered on urgency. There was something in his stare, something that felt like warning, like apology, and like inevitability. Laura, Marcello said, breaking the silence, what's in that folder is the only weapon strong enough to take down the people who did this to me, and it's also the thing most likely to get you killed. The words hit her so hard, she felt her breath stutter. Then why give it to me? She demanded. Why drag someone who has nothing to do with your world into the middle of this? Marcello gripped the armrest as if anchoring himself. Because you were there, he said. And maybe you're the only person clean enough to carry it without being corrupted. The words sparked something sharp inside her, anger, disbelief, vulnerability. You don't know me, she said, voice trembling but sincere. You don't know anything about my past. You don't know who I am. Marcello leaned forward despite the pain. But I saw how you reacted when you walked into that room, he said. You didn't run. You didn't lie. You didn't treat me like power. You treated me like a person. People like that in my world are rare. Laura looked away, throat tight. That doesn't make this any less dangerous. I know, Marcello said softly. But it's too late. They've seen you, and they won't stop until they get back what you're holding. Laura rested a hand over the folder, almost instinctive, almost protective. So what exactly is inside? She whispered. Marcello hesitated. That hesitation was all she needed to know. The truth wasn't going to be simple or safe. Evidence, he said at last. Documents, records, recorded conversations. Proof that Helena diverted money to outside entities. Proof she signed fraudulent agreements. Proof that... He inhaled shakily. Proof she was planning to take my position permanently. The air grew colder. Permanently, Laura murmured. As in... Marcello met her eyes. Do you really think the attack was just a warning? He asked. Laura, I wasn't supposed to survive. A bolt of cold fear ran down her spine. And you think she's going to... She couldn't finish. Marcello did. She's going to finish what she started, unless I make what I know impossible to bury. Laura tried to steady her breath. Everything felt like it was collapsing inward, tightening around her since the moment she opened that door on the 9th floor. Then why don't you go public? She demanded. Why not the police? The board? Why? Because I don't have the evidence, he cut in gently. You do. Laura stared at him, stunned. Me? Yes, Marcello said. The folder has been with you since last night, and if no one has taken it from you yet, it's because they're waiting to see which side you'll choose. Her heart pounded violently. And what side is that supposed to be? Marcello didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood, slowly, painfully. Laura instinctively stepped back. His presence was strange, frail and authoritative at the same time, a combination that made him unpredictable. He approached her cautiously, the room seeming to shrink around them. Laura, he said quietly, In life, sometimes you don't choose a side. Sometimes the side chooses you. And that already happened. Before she could respond, a metallic click sounded at the door. Laura whipped her head around. The doorknob rotated, slowly, deliberately. Someone was on the other side. Marcelo closed his eyes. "They're here," he murmured. The door opened. Helena walked in first. No shock, no threat. Just controlled, deliberate calm, the kind that terrified more than violence. Behind her came two men dressed in black, not hotel security, not employees, men who'd been trained for efficiency and silence. Helena stopped several steps into the room, her posture composed, her expression unreadable. "Marcelo," she said in a tone elegant enough to be insulting, "I'm sorry it came to this." Marcelo didn't back down. "I'm not," he answered. "At least now I know who you really are." Helena's gaze shifted to Laura. Everything in the room changed. Helena didn't look at her with anger or disdain, but with possession, as if Laura were an object, a replaceable component. "Laura," Helena said, her voice smooth and frighteningly calm, "you didn't need to be part of this, but since you are, we'll handle it the simplest way." "I don't have anything of yours," Laura replied, her voice steady, but her body trembling. Helena tilted her head. "You have something that isn't yours," she corrected, "and something you weren't meant to see." Marcelo stepped forward, ignoring the agony it caused. "If you touch her," he said, low and lethal, "I swear the entire corporation will come for you." Helena gave a small, amused smile. "The corporation is with me, Marcelo." The bottom dropped out of Laura's stomach. Helena raised her hand. The two men moved. Laura stepped back. Marcelo lunged forward despite his injuries, colliding with the first man. They crashed into a table, objects shattering as they grappled. The second man went straight for Laura. She hit the wall, clutching the folder. The man reached for her, but a sharp, explosive sound filled the room. Someone burst through the doorway, Alves. He slammed into the attacker with a driving blow to the shoulder, knocking the man off balance and sending him crashing into a side table. Helena didn't flinch, didn't blink. She simply watched. "You've always had terrible timing, Alves," she said coolly. "And you've always underestimated the wrong people," he replied. Helena's lips curved slightly. "She's not one of them," she said, nodding toward Laura. Alves ignored her, eyes locked on the men recovering behind him. "Laura," he said sharply, "go to the window. Now." "What?" she asked, confused. "There's nowhere to go." "Go," he repeated. "No time to think." Laura ran to the window as Marcelo stumbled back from his attacker, and Alves fought to keep the second man down. Helena moved toward her with precise, calculated steps. "Don't do this," Helena said softly. "You don't know what you're holding. You don't know who you're provoking." Laura turned to her, and in that moment, something inside her clicked. No more neutrality, no more confusion, no more fear that held her still. "Actually," Laura said quietly, "I know enough." And without another word, she opened the folder, not to reveal, not to surrender, just enough that Helena could see. If anyone tried to take it, if anyone touched her, everything inside would scatter across the floor. Evidence everywhere, irreversible, unrecoverable. The entire room froze. Helena stopped mid-step. Alves had the second man pinned. Marcelo was catching his breath after blocking the first attacker. Laura held the open folder to her chest. "If any of you come closer," she said, her voice steady despite the shaking inside her, "I drop everything, and someone out there will find it." Silence crashed over the room. Helena didn't move, but for the first time, her expression cracked. Not much, not dramatically, just enough. A fracture in her control, and Laura realized something breathtakingly real. She had power. For the first time, even if only for a second, she had it. And that second was more dangerous than anything so far. For several seconds, no one moved. The room felt suspended in time, as if reality itself refused to continue until Laura made her choice. The folder remained open in her hands, an action so simple, yet heavy enough to shift every possible outcome. Helena stayed frozen where she stood, watching Laura the way a predator studies an unpredictable element, not frightened, but calculating. Every blink, every breath, every tilt of Helena's head seemed to measure risk, probability, consequence. Laura's pulse hammered in her ears. Her body shook, but she held her ground, not because she wasn't afraid, she was, but because this was the only moment where fear didn't matter. Behind her, the curtains swayed from the cool night breeze sneaking through the cracked window. The air carried the metallic hint of Marcello's dried blood. Everything in that room felt heightened, intense, carved into her senses with painful precision. "Close the folder," Helena said at last. Her voice was calm, dangerously calm. "No theatrics, don't make choices you're not capable of living with." Laura didn't answer. Her silence wasn't fear anymore, it was clarity. "Step forward," Helena instructed the men, tone sharpening. But they hesitated. Their eyes darted between Laura, the open folder, and Helena, realizing finally that one wrong move could destroy everything they'd been trying to protect. Alves, still restraining the second man on the floor, seized that fraction of hesitation. "Laura," he said, not taking his eyes off his opponent, "you have to choose. Now." He was right. Either everything collapsed in one violent instant, or she held on to the one sliver of control she still possessed. Laura inhaled, steadying herself. Her hands trembled so hard the folder rustled, but she lifted it slightly higher, widening the threat. It was enough. The first guard stepped back. The second faltered, and Helena finally allowed something to crack, a flicker of irritation. "You too," she said quietly, without raising her voice. "Stop." The men withdrew, not far, but far enough. Helena took half a step forward, not a threat, but a claiming of space. "Laura, you have no idea what you're holding," Helena said, her voice smooth and deceptively gentle. "No idea what you could trigger. You don't understand how many lives, your own included, unravel if that folder hits the floor. And trust me, not only the people you fear, but the people you love." The emotional precision of the attack was surgical. It landed exactly where it hurt. Laura's breath tightened, but she didn't back down. "Then why?" she asked, voice unsteady. "Why did you let me leave that room? Why didn't you end this that night?" Helena lifted her chin gracefully. "Because you weren't important. Until you were." Laura held the folder tighter. "What's so valuable inside it?" she asked. "What is worth all of this?" Helena exhaled slowly. "Proof," she said. "Too much proof. Against too many people. Against you too." The words came from Marcello. He had managed to stand, barely, leaning against the table for support. The bruises, the blood, the exhaustion told a story his voice refused to surrender. Helena looked at him with disdainful patience. "You always thought you could challenge me," she said. "Thought morality outweighed power. Thought doing the right thing mattered. Everyone knew you didn't have the stomach for any of it." Marcello swallowed the pain and stayed upright. "The evidence in that folder," he said, "isn't just about money or forged documents. It's about manipulation, blackmail, and death." For the first time, Helena's expression shifted, not with fear, but offense. "You're exaggerating," she said slowly. "You ordered my death," Marcello replied. "No anger, just truth." Helena closed her eyes briefly, as if tired of correcting a naive child. "I ordered you silenced," she said. "Silenced is not the same thing as killed. A beat. Not necessarily." Silence weighed the room down like a thick fog. This wasn't a corporate dispute. This was a war. And Laura? She was the unpredictable variable. "Laura," Helena said, turning back to her, "give me the folder, leave this room, go back to your life. You have one chance, only one, and there won't be another." Laura's fingers tightened on the folder until her skin burned. "I can't," she whispered. "Yes, you can," Helena replied, voice sharpening. "You just don't want to admit you're terrified, and you should be." Laura shook her head. "I can't," she repeated, stronger now, "because if I give this to you, everything continues, nothing changes. Helena studied her with an unnervingly long silence, as if examining a rare mutation under a microscope. "You're not built for this," she said at last. "You don't know the rules. Bad players die first." Laura met her gaze. "Maybe," she said quietly, "but they die knowing they weren't complicit." It wasn't a heroic line. It wasn't bravado. It was truth, raw, painful, earned, and that truth broke something inside Helena. "Very well," Helena said. "It's over." She signaled to the men, but before they could move, the door burst open. 2 internal security officers from the hotel stepped inside, armed with non-lethal weapons. "Nobody move," the first agent commanded. Helena turned slowly, irritation flashing unmistakably. "You have no authority to—" "We do," the officer cut in. "By order of the board." Marcello lifted his head. Laura froze. "Board?" Helena repeated, stunned for the first time. "We received an anonymous report," the officer said, "with attached documentation, enough to open an immediate investigation." Laura's blood ran cold. Anonymous report. Documentation attached. She looked at Marcello. Marcello looked at her. And without words, they both understood. Someone had already acted, faster than any of them. Helena finally stepped back, shock rippling beneath her controlled exterior. "This is absurd," she said, grasping at control that no longer existed. "They wouldn't do this without proof." "They have proof," the agent replied. "A lot." Helena scanned the room, as if searching for a loophole, an exit, a lie to cling to. There was none. The agent approached Laura. "We need the folder," he said, respectful but firm. Laura handed it to him. He closed it gently, as if handling something fragile rather than nuclear. Helena watched in suffocating silence. "You're making a mistake," she whispered coldly. "A grave one." "It wasn't us," the officer replied. "It was you." The second agent cuffed her. Helena didn't fight, didn't cry, didn't tremble. She only raised her chin and stared directly at Laura. "You think this ends me," she said, "but it doesn't. And when the dust settles, you'll see." The agents led her out. Silence flooded back into the room, but it was a different silence now, the silence of consequence, of endings, of oxygen finally filling a space once suffocated by threat. Marcello leaned heavily against the wall, drained. Alves stood, catching his breath. Laura remained in the center of the room, trying to absorb the whirlwind of the last minutes. "Is it over?" she asked, voice trembling. Marcello held her gaze for a long moment before answering. "No," he said honestly, "nothing this big ends quickly. But today, it starts ending." Laura nodded slowly. A mixture of relief and fear churned inside her. "And me?" she whispered. Marcello stepped toward her with caution. "You did the right thing," he said, "and that has a price, but also a purpose." Laura didn't answer. She walked toward the door, paused, looked at the hallway, the place where everything had begun, where her life had split into before and after. She took a breath and stepped out. The first step toward a life she would never return from, but one that finally, unmistakably, belonged to her. Sometimes the truth demands more courage than any enemy ever could. And what would you have done in her place? Tell me in the comments.